Stitch number 2 is a triple straight stitch on the Pfaff Creative 1.5 sewing machine. And stitch number 7 is actually the zigzag of that triple version as well. So let's go ahead and start with stitch number 2. This is going to do 2 stitches forward and 1 stitch back. So ending up with 3 stitches on every single stitch without you having to do anything. Now I always watch as people will often buy really thick thread to make a really defined seam and have to need a top stitch needle to accommodate that thicker thread. I mean, there's just so many things that have to be adjusted. But look, you have a stitch in the machine that will simulate a much heavier stitch. Plus, it always goes back in the exact same hole, making it look primo. Now, the reason I sewed it on the bias is because I wanted to show you it actually will stretch. So not only is it a very secure stitch, it's actually a stretch stitch. So any place, like even on a pair of pants where the back seam through the crotch area is on the bias, wouldn't that be a better stitch to use? A very secure stitch. We don't need any stitches coming out there. And it will have the give for every time you sit down. If you're doing a bag or doing some top stitching, you can have a really nice professional stitch. You can do it in any color you want. You don't have to find the exact thick thread in the color you're looking for. You just use your thread. Variegated thread, even more fun. And that stitch number 7, that's going to have our zigzag version of this. It will start off with a 6mm wide and 4mm long, but of course you can make that much wider all the way and longer, so you can make those settings adjusted. So you'll find this almost has a very pretty rick-rack look. It can be decorative, it could be a reinforced zigzag, and again, I love the fact that it always goes back into the exact same hole. So it looks like you used thicker thread, but you actually didn't. And to tell you the truth, we used to sell top stitching thread at our store, but everybody was taught how to use the stitches that are in their machine. They never bought it because they always used the triple straight stitch or the triple zigzag instead.